Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, Episode 1. You're going to tip that shelf. Be careful. Whoa. Episode 166.
How am I supposed to
Jack
do
versus his microphone boom arm.
that? I don't like
Boom arm 1, Jack 0. Don't tip that whole
How am I
shelf.
supposed to do this?
This is why when I try and get you to do a sound check and you refuse to do it, you take care of it then. So I believe in you. But anyways, welcome. We're going to eventually talk about some wrestling.
I yield.
You yield. You defeated. Microphone wins by submission. We're going to talk about wrestling, AEW Dynamite, NXT, Impact, maybe Raw, maybe SmackDown.
Only Raw.
Only Raw, a little bit.
Minimally, because they're boring.
Right. So, I don't know, another week has passed. We had your brother's officially a teenager as of yesterday.
Uh-huh.
He had friends over for a bit of a pool party. I think the last time in Southern Ontario we're going to be heating our pool probably.
Probably.
And you coincidentally picked up a shift and didn't have to be here while there were 6 13-year-olds running around the pool. You're pretty proud of yourself.
I don't much care for them.
You got paid to not be here. It's the one way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they had fun. I don't know. We ordered a bunch of
Mhm.
pizza, heated the pool to ridiculous temperatures, and hung out there
Mm-hmm.
while you worked. And your part-time Supreme's going well, training
Yeah.
full-grown adults as a 16-year-old.
Not today, thankfully, but...
Not today?
Or, sorry, not yesterday.
No. But, yeah, you're getting lots of hours still, so that's good stuff. I don't know.
Indeed.
Terry Fox run was at school. It's pretty exciting stuff.
So exciting.
Yeah, just didn't raise a lot of money, our school, unfortunately. But did you know the school that I grew up and your mother went to as well? I looked it up. The most recent I could see was 2017, but they raised like $45,000. And as a school, they've raised over $1 million for Terry Fox.
Yeah, right.
Which, if you're not in Canada, you might not know. It's like a famous man who lost his leg to cancer and was going to run across Canada, right? So it's an annual thing to raise money for cancer
I don't think
research.
we'll ever hit that, ever.
No, the school I went to, high school, was crazy. It was one of the things everybody did was they were very into Terry Fox. But
Yeah, can't say that attributes to here.
no, not so much here. I don't know. I guess there's some birthday shopping or something. Your brother's going out to do something after this, but I think you're just going to stay home and hang out,
I'm
right?
surprised he's actually doing something.
Right. And I hope that is just the doorbell cam dropping off something new for me. They rang the doorbell. I got packages coming, so that's pretty exciting. The new app is quite useful for that. But anyways, anything else you wanted to chat here? Bantering.
I don't have a package.
You don't have a pack. Yes, you're still waiting for your stuff from Ringside, right? From birthday order?
Yeah.
So
which
has
was
nothing's come?
almost 2 months ago.
So waiting on Cody, waiting on
Stardust.
whatever. Same thing.
Nuh-uh.
And whatever else is... What else is...
Usos.
Oh, Usos, yeah.
The cool ones.
So who knows when they'll come.
Yeah.
Maybe never.
Seems like it.
Yeah. But anyways, I guess we
Seems,
can
seems
start.
like one of those things.
Anything else you had planned for bantering? I'm ready to move into wrestling if you are.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so we'll get talking about wrestling now, where we always start out with taking a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. So taking a look at ratings, Becky Lynch was back on NXT. So they had big numbers again this week, not quite like last week. So 824,000 viewers average, down 3.1, and a 0.24 in the key demographic, down 4.4. But those are still fantastic NXT numbers, right? So it is the second largest audience since April of 2021, and I imagine
Pre
you have
2.0.
to pre 2.0. You said
Yes.
you'd have to contribute that to Becky Lynch because she was kind of woven throughout this show. And yeah, she continues to move the needle for them. And Dynamite averaged 984,000, so that's nice, approaching that million mark that we like so much, up 10.4% from last week, and earned a 0.36, so that's up as well in the key demographic, 16.1%. So good week for the wrestling that we pay most attention to. Well, I pay most attention to. What do you got? No major news this week, right?
No, nothing.
It's one of those slow weeks.
So with the recent TKO merger of WWE and UFC, there's been roster cuts.
There
We're
sure have.
back at it.
We were saying the Brian Myers special.
Brian Myers has wreaked havoc
If you know, you know. No.
on WWE.
His impact finishing move is called the roster cut, a clothesline. So
Yeah,
yes,
WWE's back to their old ways. Flashbacks of a couple years ago.
So why
Maybe
don't
last
you-
year.
do you have a list of names,
Yeah.
obviously? So go one at a time, and I imagine this might be the bulk of our news, and we'll sort of, if we have any thoughts on, and each of them, we'll sort of add them. So
Okay.
who's first?
Elias.
I mean, I thought he was like over with the whole
For a while, yeah.
guitar gimmick and stuff.
But then it kind of died in the pandemic, and then he went to being Ezekiel, and then it kind of
got weird.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's great in the ring. He was mostly a character person. So, like, outside of WWE, I don't think he fits anywhere, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. I could
No.
see him doing indie work at most.
Yeah, or like NWA.
He would probably fit in NWA.
Seems to fit
Yeah.
there, right? All right.
Just to diss them a little.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin, which I'm not surprised he's gone, but I'm a little disappointed because I like him.
I think he's fantastic. He's a talent they probably should have used more somewhere along the line.
Business.
Yes, for example, but even decade before that, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not great on the mic and stuff, but amazing in the ring.
That's why you put him with MVP.
Could be a trainer or something, I feel like. I don't know.
He would be, he'd be really good in the PC as a trainer.
A little long in the tooth for someone to sign, I feel like, because he's not young, obviously. But
No.
he was awesome back in the day.
Yeah, that kind of sucks because I'm not sure what he'll do now because, like you said, he's long tenured now.
He's on the downside. He's certainly not prime Shelton Benjamin. All right, who's left?
Dapa Kato.
Yeah, so we talked about this, you and I, because it was great. You were sending me little texts of who's gone because I wasn't seeing any updates, whatever I was doing. And it seems like there was a couple, right, that were sent down to NXT as like, if we'll try something, and if it doesn't stick there, you're basically gone, and he's one of them because they've stopped and started him in NXT, right?
Yeah,
lately?
he had what he debuted as Babatunde in the Saudi Rumble.
Yep.
Then he didn't really do anything. Then he was Dapa Kato. He did Raw Underground for a while.
Yeah, he did.
Back when that was a thing. Then he randomly became
With Omos.
Then he became Nigerian, and he was Commander Aziz, and then now he's back to Dapa Kato doing nothing.
And I thought his like short little monster promos were decent in NXT, but then like in the ring, it's just standard big man stuff, and I don't know, it doesn't do much for me. So
Yeah.
I don't see him going anywhere else.
No.
I mean, Impact big man, kind of like bringing in Khan sort of deal, but why?
Yeah, but you don't like Khan.
I
so-
don't, but I'm just saying fit wise. I'm not
I
saying
guess,
it's what I
yeah.
want, but yeah, who else?
Rick Boogs. I think he was doing some team thing a little while. I mean, I think that was the thing with LA Knight. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But-
don't know what he's been up to.
He hasn't really done anything because he got injured.
Right.
Remember
Mania?
with Nakamura? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mania we didn't like,
Right.
and then he just never really career-wise recovered from that.
Yeah.
Because him and Nak getting on Mania is a pretty solid spot.
I
against
feel
the
like he was a
Usos.
guy that needed. He's probably hurt from moving up too fast because he still needs some sort of development.
Yeah,
and now
which
it's
I think
like
that's
too
why he
late.
was Nakamura's sidekick for a while, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he never really did much.
No.
And perfect segue into Dana Brooke.
Yeah, so like another one who will send you down to NXT, will try and change something like, and we were saying like, she was on the cusp of clearly a major heel turn, right, in the story.
Not the
with
cusp
Kalani.
of being good. Not to be
No,
confused
God,
with
no.
that.
She's still really, really bad. But
Which I guess it's a miracle it took them this long to get rid of her.
Uh,
Like she's
right,
She should be like she should praise whatever God she believes in for surviving the pandemic.
she's not
cuts.
good. Again, I think thinking back, she was a victim of being called up too fast, and her development
for
stilted, and she never.
And then she came back to NXT too late.
Right, but it's funny because she, like someone else you're going to mention in a minute, is in the midst of a storyline, right? Like she was about to
Yeah.
turn, I'm sure, and go extreme Dana Brooke, turn on Kalani Jordan and blah, blah, blah. And
Some
now
might
it's
even say
just,
hardcore country.
yeah, just gone. Pulled the plug on
Yeah.
it midstream.
Quincy Elliott and some other PC trainees that aren't important.
Yeah,
got
Quincy,
released.
they gave a brief run is not the word I'm looking for. He was on TV a couple times, right? Really big guy
They
that I
always
used
give
to...
like a couple appearances when they bring up someone from Level Up, and then
Yeah, kind of like that. And
Yeah, it's
they were
like-
experimenting with his character, I think. I've seen him on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He's not very experienced in the ring by the looks of it. And he was just super huge, right? So they gave it a shot, I guess, and are done with him.
yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get rid of Odyssey Jones because
Oh, wow. I forgot about him.
if I'm thinking roster cuts, I'd get rid of like him because he doesn't do anything.
He does not. I haven't
Just
seen him
based
in
on
forever.
some of the cuts they made, I'm surprised they didn't get rid of like him or like Cruz because he doesn't really do much. Or
He feels like one that they've tried all they can try, right? And they
Apollo?
sent him back down. And
which
they
is why
sent
I'm surprised they wouldn't cut him.
Right.
Cause,
I know, that's why I'm agreeing with you.
yeah. Top Dollar is gone again.
That, like,
Interestingly, though,
Doesn't
I
surprise
haven't
me.
heard about the rest of Hit Row.
right. I expected it to be Top Dollar, comma, the rest of them, but it was not. So
No, I didn't see anything.
But
about
there's been
them.
reports that he kind of rubs people the wrong way at some point, right? Who knows? Dirt sheet
Yeah, but
stuff.
what the hell are Ashanti and Beef going to do on their own? Like, come on.
And
Ashanti
true.
is like probably going to be fodder because he's not super huge and he's not overly talented, and Beef is garbage.
I'd be fine if she is really bad, unless she's improved. I'd be fine with the Adonis going back down to NXT and seeing if they can do something.
That's probably the best thing for him,
But I think Dalla didn't have any. He had personality and size, but he wasn't really good in the ring. Remember what was his super botch this year?
Yeah, that dive, and Michael Clover. Makes fun of it.
I just remembered he botched something. I couldn't remember specifically what it was.
And he tried to act like he hit it, and it was horrible.
Right. So yeah, I don't think that he's any great loss.
Yeah. Speaking of a great loss, Shanky is next.
Oh, I didn't even hear that one. I don't know.
I forgot about it. I just remembered now, so I just re-added it to the
another
list.
one they've tried to do stuff with, and we're just
not really though. They tried like that weird dancing thing for a little bit,
right.
And then
I don't even remember. I can't even picture him if I'm being honest.
Google him. You'll probably remember him. He was with Jinder and Veer for a bit.
I assume. Got to package everyone together.
Well, yeah, because they're all.
All right, let's see. Oh yeah,
it's him. Yeah.
Yep.
He debuted at that the India special thing they did in the Thunderdome.
Yep.
And then he kind of was on Raw for a bit. I don't know. He didn't really do a whole lot. Like.
So that's not surprising that he's gone either. I don't see him catching on anywhere else.
He honestly hasn't done much probably this year. I don't honestly can't remember.
Because I just listened to reviews of main roster and I don't remember hearing his name mentioned too often.
One of the more surprising ones for me, but also not surprising, is Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, and there's the other one I was referring to in the middle of a storyline.
Who literally has who had a PLE match.
Right, because he's in this thing with Dom Mysterio and Dragon Lee, and he's sort of feeling he should be the next contender sort of thing, and the Dragon Lee's jumping the line, and we're right in the middle of that story, and then that's gone.
Ali's finally getting something to do, and then he's gone.
And then,
I know he did want out while ago.
He did.
So,
and he was sort of, I thought, debuted a new character like 3 weeks ago with that whole political thing, and then he never circled back around to it, and I was confused, and I don't know. I guess he's gone. He's someone I think should be somewhere else, like AEW. I know they don't need anybody, so I think
but maybe Impact, because I feel
like
like
he'd fit there really well.
As much as I would love to see him in AEW, because I don't care about Impact, I feel like he would definitely get lost in the shuffle. I do like him, but I definitely feel like he would get lost in the shuffle.
And X Division would be a great fit for him.
Exactly. So
that's not a bad idea.
I feel like he would fit there, and like he could actually get a decent spot, like get some X Division runs or something. Because I love AEW, but for someone like him would not be always prominent.
No, there's just no room anymore. Even with more TV shows and stuff, there's still doesn't
it's
seem
still
to be
difficult,
room.
Right?
Yep.
Aaliyah's gone. Darn.
I mean, there's someone who has had a long run without really doing anything.
She won the tag titles with Raquel for 2 weeks.
She cashed checks. Good Canadian girl. You know.
She beat Natalia in like 3 seconds.
Oh, she's another one that's pretty far down the scale of looking very different from what she originally looked like.
But that one flies under the radar because, again, who gives a crap?
Yeah, who even knows who she is?
Riddick Moss and Emma are gone. The happy couple.
So was the Emma coming back at Triple H bringing back people that Vince fired? Was she in that round, I feel like? And now Vince was sort of back, and she's gone again.
She's a weird case because she got released like a while ago. Like years ago, probably.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But that's weird because I feel like most of the Triple H comebacks were ones that got released recently under Vince.
Yes.
Like Hit Row and Cross and Mia Yim, and you know what I mean?
They kept him, yeah, interesting.
But like, I know, right? But like with Emma, I swear she probably got released like 2017, 2018. So I wouldn't really consider that a Triple H thing because I feel like it was also she was an Impact for a bit. So that one feels a little different to me because I feel like most of the ones were like recent missteps that Vince made. And then with Moss, I don't think you want to say they tried with him, but I don't think they did because
he got hurt too and then kind of disappeared, right?
Yeah, and I think the thing was like you could say they tried with him, but I don't think you can because he had that stupid jokey gimmick with Happy Corbin, right? That stupid where he had the suspenders. Then Corbin turned on him, so then his character change or his what do they call it? His repackage was more of a lack thereof, where he was like, oh, I'm not gonna joke anymore. I'm gonna start wearing black trunks and being boring. Like his thing was he was the most plain Jane wrestler you've ever seen.
And he's a big jacked guy, and
to
he's really, really fast. But other than that, I don't really know
kind of sucks.
anything. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see him as AEW guy. I could see Emma going back to Impact or something.
Yeah.
Because they have a pretty good knockouts division. And
yeah, I think she should probably go back there. The most surprising one to me was Dolph Ziggler. Because I know, like, I've seen things that Vince hasn't been, like, the highest on him, and he never wanted to push him. But I honestly never would have thought in a million years he'd get released. Because he just seems like a lifer.
100. I was just going to say that.
Completely a lifer.
He's been there so long.
And he's really great in ring for their style.
And I don't think he complains or causes problems.
I know he wanted out. I saw a thing he wanted out like a few years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like a little while ago. But he was talked into staying.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. He just seems like a perfect guy to stay there. And he even if he never gets that big push again, I think he's perfect in the mid card. He's been a great IC champion in the past. Like, I remember that storyline with The Miz in 2016 was really good.
There were times where he was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, he's
one
really
of
great.
One of your first figures too.
Yeah. So and that kind of sucks. I saw his Elite at Walmart the other day. So maybe if I can find it again, I'll get it because that'll be his last one.
That's right. So yeah, I don't know. Like, AEW seems to love brother tag teams, so he could show up there, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I'd be okay with him showing up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's again like I don't know where I want him to show up because I don't know how he would wrestle outside
and what
of the
will
WWE
his name be?
style.
He'll go back to Nemeth,
I guess.
probably.
I don't. It's Dolph Ziggler is such a weird name, but I'm
It is.
so used to it because it's gonna be weird. Like the next game, he won't be in there, or no more Ziggler figs. Like that's
end of an era for sure.
Oddity. Yeah, because I think he signed developmental in 2004.
Yep,
which is crazy.
It is. Yeah, he was Spirit Squad.
Then he was back in developmental. Then I think Ziggler was from 2008 on.
Yeah.
So that's probably like 15-year span at least to Ziggler.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Almost a decade period.
Yep.
That's wild. So yeah, that sucks he's gone. That one was a surprising disappointment for me. And I've never been a huge fan of him, but I've always liked him.
And I heard that more NXT cuts were coming, but they...
yeah, I haven't seen a huge amount yet. Then the last one that came like kind of the day after most of the releases was Matt Riddle is gone.
Oh, yes. Which a little bit surprised.
That kind of surprises me, but also doesn't given recent developments because it hasn't even gone, or he was just off TV for some reason. And I feel like he's kind of unreliable for them, right? So, and that's why they haven't pushed him.
Love his style. He's cool in the ring.
Yeah, so I'd be happy with him going to AEW because he would just go wild again because NXT Riddle was different than main roster Riddle.
His flurries are unlike anybody's.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy. So I'd like to see him around again.
Me too. There'd be a lot of fresh matchups in AEW. I'd like to see.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is it. So roster cuts are back. Baby.
They are back. I guess not specifics, but there were a couple injuries on Dynamite we'll get to when we talk about it, right?
Yeah, it was a cursed show.
Looks like a Mox concussion that resulted in some audibles being called, and also Adam Cole jumping off of the ramp, which again, because we watched it late, so I'd heard, and I was picturing him like diving off the ramp or hitting a move.
I don't know why I pictured that, but that's what I thought.
So hopefully nothing too major and that people don't miss more than a week or two, but I guess we'll have to see what happens because that's a couple like top of the card people in prominent
couple of my
stories, right?
Too.
So we'll see how that goes.
Hangman's next.
Right. Yeah. They come in threes, they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My three favorites are going. Randy Orton's been spotted back around the Performance Center recently.
That. He needs some development, He's very green still. He needs more experience.
Yeah, he needs some polish.
No, obviously a rehab assignment more so in this case.
I would assume so, yeah. So maybe he's finally coming back. I don't know.
I can't say I've missed him, but I also don't really watch that product too much.
I don't really care.
He's just been the same all the time forever. And now...
Not like you can do RK Bro to keep him interesting anymore, because that was probably the only like renaissance he's had recently.
And it's true. And then normally what happens if I was watching the product, there'd be some like guys on the rise that I'm kind of interested in, and then he's going to come back and RKO them all and kill them all and just like halt everyone's momentum as he's sort of rebuilt, and that annoys me. He'll
start killing new guys and he'll be the legend in the making killer.
And that, because that's kind of stuff that annoys me, but it's what happens a lot.
Yeah.
What do we have here? A former WWE board member has gone on the record about his decision to resign from the company in the wake of Vince's return. Basically told, I think it was the LA Times, that he did not feel it was prudent for McMahon to return to WWE considering the allegations against him.
Yeah, I've seen things that it's like he only agreed to, or he's selling the company just so that he could come back.
Right.
Or something like that.
And so basically saying that it wasn't aligned with his ways of government and his values. So it seems like he had some principles and left because there are possible looming, I think, more criminal and civil charges for Vince. So
I would not be surprised.
Maybe not having him as one of the faces of your company is a better idea.
I'll try to find, because I was just looking at something. Oh, yeah. So that's the title from What Culture is proof that Vince McMahon is more deluded than ever in WWE. Yeah, morale was decimated by the job cuts. It was talking about
morale was decimated by the roster cuts. Is that what you said? Yeah. I'm sure it's never good when you see like a dozen of your colleagues get fired. Doesn't make you feel safe. Probably.
The belief is that Vince conducted the deal just so he could return. Yeah. Because he came back, he kind of wedged his way back this year, with the purpose of selling the company, and now he's kind of around. But I feel, isn't he like kind of on his way out or something?
I don't know. One of the things was he actually sold it so they would bring him back in, right? Because they don't want the company without him as sort of he is the brand kind of thing. Yeah. So it got him back into it. But,
hopefully maybe he'll drop dead and then he'll let his grip go.
I do have here that a new SEC filing has shown light on a hint that McMahon may want out of WWE.
He wants out?
After recent acquisition. Yes, because he that basically he was selling his offerings possibly, and that being on the board and facing criminal charges is bad. So, sorry, they want him gone. Okay. The TKO may want him gone because, again,
TKO Group Holdings.
That's right. Not a good look for him.
Oh, yeah.
Or for them at all.
Well, who would have thought that?
No, right? Another thing I had is that following up from last week on Cargill possibly going to WWE, Meltzer said that WWE is already working on main roster creative for her, and that it's being like a high priority for writers to figure out something for Jade Cargill.
Not surprised.
Not surprised at all. Makes total sense.
I feel like she'll probably jump the line of NXT.
I do too, even though she shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We keep saying how do they get the belt off Becky Lynch? Cargill comes in as a monster heel and just decimates people.
I'd probably book that.
And then Lynch goes back.
I feel like she'll jump the line.
And then Cargill, I could see her relinquishing because they don't want to have her weakened at all on her way up. Now that they think that some main roster people are watching NXT, right? They'll because the numbers are up. They'll want to keep her strong.
I would also get views on NXT. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when she goes to the main roster, she can be the big killer. Nia Jax can go away forever.
So she comes and dominates that division, and AOP come and dominate tag division.
Who, Nia and AOP?
No, Cargill and AOP. All right, that's all the news I have. Do you have anything else?
Last one was SmackDown's going to return to the USA Network next year.
It is.
I think it was like October or September. $1.4 billion deal.
Chump change.
Yeah.
So your hope is?
Well, I don't know. I guess I would hope so, yeah, just because so we don't have the secondary title. But my thought was, I think one of the main sticking points behind the two world titles is that each network wants their world title. It's like,
I would assume to some degree at least.
When Roman unified the titles, it's like USA on Raw didn't really get a world title.
Right.
Because most of the time he was on SmackDown. He's defending against someone from SmackDown. Something like that, right? So
they never go on other brands. Don't forget.
And I'm thinking if the shows are all back on the same network, they would probably be able to just go with one title for a while because there's no inter-network, you know, there's no squabbles about world titles, so they could probably do that and, you know, have Roman's title, because let's be honest, Seth's is secondary over both shows because they're both on USA and everything's fine and it would make sense. And I think that is probably the best thing right now because I don't have an issue with two world titles, but I think generally speaking, one is better, and also the way they introduced the second world title was bad.
I agree.
So, yeah, because usually it doesn't feel this secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I wonder if there's any chance SmackDown changes nights, because when it's a new network, they might feel like you fit. You know what I mean? If they already have their Friday,
if it
whatever,
goes back to Tuesday,
locked in.
I guess it can't go to Tuesday, but like,
I don't think Friday's the best night.
I like Friday,
but I'm used to it now.
I think
not that we watch
latest
it anyways.
ones. I think that's the latest that would work. At least it's not Friday at 10, because that's
bad.
But like, I think SmackDown was far worse when it was on Tuesday, because then it was Monday Raw, Tuesday SmackDown, Wednesday NXT.
Yes.
That's just a
that was a
overload
lot.
and then NXT UK when that was around. That was Thursdays, right?
Yep. It was.
That's
just a slog.
If you really want to go there, there's 205 Live on Fridays.
Oh my
God.
Nobody really wants to go there.
Exactly. So I don't know. I feel like that'd be interesting, yeah, but that's not till next year, so it's not a current concern.
Right. Okay. News is done. We'll move into an in-depth review of our favorite show pretty much every week, and that is this past Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. All right, tell me about what I would classify as a fairly eventful episode of Dynamite,
for better,
right?
for worse.
Yeah, and better in some areas and worse in others. But yeah,
for sure. So this is Grand Slam, the Arthur Ashe show.
Yeah.
It doesn't look much like a stadium to me. It looks a little bigger, but
it's because it's a tennis stadium, right? So tennis, I know as being non-sports dude, like you're gonna have football stadium biggest, right? Then like
Wembley.
Baseball kind of stuff is big, but
like San Antonio or Phoenix.
Tennis, they don't ram a ton of people in, so it's technically a stadium, but it's not going to be like a football stadium. So
no,
it won't
it
look
is
as
not.
Huge. Like you're not going to have like 3 or 4 levels of.
Doesn't look like Wembley.
No, it looks. I like it though. I like the look of it.
It's good, yeah. I like their stage though. It was different because now with the new era of using all screens, no tunnels, looks different. The top entrance, the top Titantron piece, reminded me of like because the way it like kind of curved inward like that.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Raw stage from 2016, 2019.
That is such a specific reference.
Just shorter and taller.
Right.
But are you Googling it?
Raw stage what?
2016, 2019. Like just go like.
You keep talking.
Or like the post draft one when they started using the LED screens more. I like the Minitron setup too. They had like a small screen in the middle with like light bars around it, then some other LEDs on the sides, and then they had the LED ramp up to the ring, which I like because
you like that.
I like using the ramp like that because it creates another dynamic. Although apparently it is a hazard.
It is a hazard. We may never see it again.
Did you find it?
No. Well, I mean, I found images, but I don't know if it's the right stuff. But
wait. Is it like?
We can look later.
Okay. Well, it's like there should be like that piece and it like curves. The top trons are kind of curved.
Yes.
Is it that?
I do see one like that.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Myriad images here.
It's trick because they changed the Tron colors a lot. They used it for the PLEs too, so that one's a little more similar because they used a different piece when it was. Anywho, opening match is Edward Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli for the New Japan Strong Openweight and ROH World Titles in a title for title. Title for title, baby.
Crazy.
No unifications though. I feel like we're used to unifications because I don't remember the last double title match I've seen that wasn't a unification. The last thing I can remember is Usos and RK Bro unifying the tag titles. Yep. I don't remember anything else.
Me either.
That doesn't happen a lot, but... oh, wait, no. The last unifications we saw would have been the NXT unifications.
Yes.
With UK. I forgot about that. NXT UK was only like... That was...
a blip on the radar for us. We watched it a bit, reviewed it a bit.
And it was actually getting decent.
It was. We liked some of it, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a year ago. Maybe I think it's over a year ago now, but like close to a year ago when the Worlds Collide was. Which that's crazy because it just feels like NXT UK is so far in the rear view mirror. It's crazy. Anyway, some notables from this one. There was a strike exchange early on. Kingston slapped Claudio, then hit a German suplex. Claudio lifted Eddie over the ropes and hit him with a back suplex on the ramp, which looked pretty cool.
Yeah, Eddie's head looked like it bounced off the ramp on that one.
He did not get concussed, though.
He did not well.
I don't think so. Later.
Yeah, that's right.
Claudio missed the diving headbutt, then came back on the uppercut for 2. Claudio hit a TKO for 2, looking to get hired by the other side. Kingston connected with an enziguri, then he followed with an exploder and a Saito suplex for 2, which was pretty nice. Claudio absorbed machine gun chops from Eddie, then he absorbed more chops, and then Kingston caught him with a jab. There's a hefty strike exchange. Claudio absorbed a chop, then baits Eddie into going for another, so he caught his arm, then he headbutted and clotheslined Eddie for 2, which I thought that was really cool.
It was.
Eddie countered a Ricola bomb and a Hurricane for 2, then Claudio countered the pin back for a 2 count, then he came up with a running uppercut for 2. Claudio hit a Ricola bomb for a nice near fall. The near fall I really liked was Eddie hit 2 of his Hurricanes, the spinning back fist, yes. And then a half and half suplex and another Hurricane. and then a Northern Lights bomb, and all that got a near fall, which was pretty crazy to me.
Good flurry for sure.
And then Eddie ended up picking the win with a Hurricane and a falling power bomb.
Yeah, I thought...
Which I feel like is, because I know you said this was kind of Japanese feeling. I feel like winning just randomly with like a power bomb like that also feels Japanese.
Had a Japanese feel for sure. Really physical match. I thought it was pretty great, and the crowd was really into it. I thought they added to it as well. And the crowd, like, Eddie is super, super beloved, right? So why not capitalize, give him a couple belts? I don't think Claudio's doing much for the belt, to be honest with you. He's been
not in a while
lukewarm for me. And he had a nice, powerful, dominant heel and a beloved, resilient babyface. So that's a really good dynamic. The crowd is super behind Eddie, and I think they really delivered. I thought this was an awesome opener and a really nice moment for Eddie, right? Clearly meant a lot to him in the celebration in the aftermath and thanking the crowd and stuff. So a big moment for him, and the crowd loved it. I thought it was an awesome opener.
Yeah, I thought it was a really nice opener. I liked it a lot. With Eddie being a hometown guy, I think it really helped get the crowd in proceedings right off the bat.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a really good payoff to this feud. I felt like a grudge match.
It did, and they shook hands at the end, right?
Yeah. Eddie got that respect. It was a little Japanese like with all the strike exchanges and whatnot, but I think overall it was really great. I thought some of the near falls were really well done, even though I knew Eddie was winning. I thought the near falls were still cool. I thought Eddie kicking out the Ricola bomb was surprising. That was cool for him. And also, I thought it was really surprising Claudio kicking out that absolute bombardment. I felt like a super flurry that would, like, it's like at the end of the long match, you throw a bunch of crap at him, and then you get the win. But that was a nice near fall, because I didn't think Claudio would kick out of that. And good for Eddie for getting the win, though. Happy for him. That's well earned.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw him post about he's taking a pause from independence because he's
2 belts.
New Japan and ROH and whatever. So that's
makes
cool.
sense. Happy for him.
Yeah. Next we get Roddy in the hospital, lying on a bed. He's got his neck brace on and his eyes are closed. Bennett talks to the camera, saying he wanted the camera here to thank everyone for the support. Taven reads Roddy a card from Olga, I guess.
Yeah.
Cole comes in to check on Roddy. Roddy is shouting at him, "Where are you?" And then Cole tells him to open his eyes.
That made me laugh.
Kingdom say it's convenient. Cole shows up when they leave, and they say they have to go to Grand Slam because they got a match on Rampage. Cole says he's glad Roddy's doing okay, but he has to go because MJF has his big title match. Cole goes to leave, but he hesitates, and Roddy slowly raises his bed a little and says, "Just freaking go." Then he slowly lowers the bed.
And it's all like creaking and stuff. It made me laugh. Yeah. This is funny to me still. Something about Roddy's delivery and just everything is funny. It's kind of strange that Cole would, if you're imagining this is real, Cole would show up for literally a 3-second visit at the hospital and be like, "Hey, how's it going? Okay, I gotta go." But yeah, this is funny. Roddy's this is like peak Roddy character work, because there's not a lot to compare it to, frankly.
Yeah, this is really cool. Roddy continues to entertain. I thought the part where he opened his eyes was really funny.
Yeah. Well, Adam, where are you? Open your eyes, Roddy, because he's standing right there.
Like, oh, you're here. Kingdom are fine. They add little, but they're there.
But they're just always sarcastic, right? So it's like nothing they do
Well, they're always sarcastic towards Cole. Like, they can't. I don't think they're like. I know they're heels, so I guess, but like, I don't know.
I don't know. No matter what they do, they sound the same.
Yeah, Roddy is amusing again. Cole played his part well. This is all solid.
Yep.
Next to a Christian Luchasaurus interview, Christian says to walk past Sting and Darby on Rampage, and he's bored of Darby, but Darby won't move on until he gets another shot at the title, or his title, their title.
Yeah, it keeps doing that.
So Christian challenges him to take a shot at the title against him in Luchasaurus in a 3-way.
And
Sting barred from ringside.
And he calls it a handicap at one point, doesn't he, too?
Yeah.
I think he and then corrects himself. Yeah.
Because it's very distinctly a 3-way.
Yes. Yeah.
So I saw a solid promo from Christian. I like the concept of this 3-way because we all know this is him weaseling his way to get himself legitimately to be the champion. Like
stealing the pinfall from Luchasaurus, probably.
Yeah,
I can see happening.
You can start building that turn if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't Christian like insulting anyone's parents, but it's still a little bit more subdued, but good. And yeah, it seems like that's what we're ramping up to, is for him to screw over his own
I think
henchman.
It'd be interesting if Darby won, and then Christian could maybe get pissed at Luchasaurus for losing his title.
Yeah.
And I mean his as in Christian's title, you know.
See, I want Christian to win it and Luchasaurus to be fine with it for a while until somebody starts.
Christian winning it is the better route and the more logical route, but I could see Darby also stealing it, and then
yeah,
I would also be okay with Darby getting it, because the Haas title bores me.
I don't think we need to go to the Luchasaurus figures out what Christian's all about yet. I want it to go longer.
Yeah.
Before that happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because they're actually good at slow burns. Crazy, right?
Right.
Next we get Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho. Woo.
Yeah, my first note, live entrance music so rarely sounds good, and that was the case here, in my opinion.
Guevara got a live one here.
Didn't think it sounded great.
Okay,
and you're right, the whole lyrics being played underneath.
because the way they do it is he's the guy who does this song, I think it's Montesi or something. The guy who raps Guevara's theme, he did it live, obviously, but they still play the bass theme under it with the lyrics and everything, so you can hear the disconnect between the live vocals and the pre-recorded vocals.
Right.
So like they need to figure out just play an instrumental and have him rap over. And I think that would honestly help fix it a lot, because I think the rap here was fine at best, but I think it was made to look worse because the lyrics are still there, so you can just hear how much better it sounds pre-recorded. You know what I mean? Like live, you want it live. You know?
And also, so in audio gear sometimes, right? I'm like I have headphones on because I'm monitoring live. Like I can hear you talking, I can hear me talking. And some devices that aren't designed properly, there's a lag. So I would hear us just slightly after, and it's so irritating, and it's almost that.
That's basically
too, right?
what that is, yeah.
So it does not sound professional.
I noticed
or
a similar thing with Swerves at All In,
yes.
but I thought that was a little better, and also because I like that theme better.
Yeah. But yeah, not my favorite choice.
Guevara also came in a light up vest, though, that I thought was kind of cool.
Course.
And his gear is also paying homage to Jericho's from Mania 19 against Shawn Michaels.
Oh.
Which is also a foreshadow.
Because, oh yeah, you're right.
Jericho did the exact same thing
true.
to Michaels.
That's right.
So we got a butterfly backbreak from Jericho. Guevara hit the Spaceman punch of the Fosbury flop looking thing to the outside. Jericho had a suplex from the apron. That was very nice. Guevara came with a codebreaker for 2, which I thought he actually hit pretty good, actually. Nailed it. Huge moves off to the outside from Guevara. Didn't get all of it. Glancing blow. Didn't get all of it.
Remember, you wrote down.
That's so Jericho was going for the springboard drop kick that he usually does when someone's on the apron.
Yeah.
And Guevara was meant to catch him like maybe a super kick or something.
He did not.
It didn't connect from any measure.
So from Excalibur and I don't know if it was Shivani.
Taz, probably.
You got you've got the beloved, the standard comment.
Glancing blow, didn't get all of it. I literally wrote both of those because that's what they said.
Yep.
Avalanche cutter from Guevara for 2. The finish came when Guevara hit a GTH and he went for a shooting star, but got caught with a code breaker, and Jericho picked up the win. I don't think the code breaker was perfect, but given how tricky that is, I really liked it.
I thought it looked cool anyway.
I don't think it was perfect, but I also think that's realistic. So I'm totally fine with that.
It would be hard to hit that.
It would be hard to nail, but I think he got enough of it.
Me too. Thought the exact same.
Yeah, and then there's a post-match hug. Then I wrote Sammy kicks the Ayatollah in the Rock and Rollas.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then, to quote Excalibur, the biggest rat in New York City comes out.
Yeah.
That being Don Callis.
Yeah.
That made me chuckle.
And I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I thought the match was good, but if the story had connected with me, I would like it a lot more.
That was the disconnect, obviously.
Because I just kind of haven't cared about the story, as you know, if you're a listener of this program. I wasn't intrigued by who would turn on who, or if they could work together, or whatever, or just... I did like that each guy had a counter for kind of like the signature offense of the other, since they do know each other so well from being in factions for years or whatever together. Even if they didn't get all of it. Right. Thought it was a good TV match. Really cool finishing counter. I like the finish. And it kind of especially because that's the KG veteran who's lost a step catches the risk-taking guy, right?
I think that's a solid way to give Jericho
Me too. And so Sammy turns heel again after a brief babyface period. I don't know.
I don't really care because his dynamic's been wishy-washy this year.
It has.
I do like this just because I think him with Callis is cool.
Agree. And it's a clear, a very simple way of going, he is heel now, right? And I don't think there's much chance that he flip-flops with Callis because Callis is not a babyface.
Yeah, it'll get him heat fast, too.
I think it's a nice addition to the stable.
Agreed.
I'm on board.
That's the kind of thing that I'm okay with.
Especially because they're telling us that they're showing us, whatever, that this is basically... Callis is focused on 2 things right now: tormenting Kenny Omega and tormenting Chris Jericho, right?
And now he's kind of got tools to do both.
He's finding ways to go back and forth and do that, and I kind of enjoy it.
And he's picked 2 guys that are perfect for both, because he's got Takeshita for
your main
Omega,
eventer.
and then your main eventer, and then
Sammy.
Guevara for Jericho. What am I doing?
Yeah, so I like that seems to be his obsession, is just torturing those two guys.
Yeah, I like that. I thought this was pretty good. The action turn was pretty good, but nothing spectacular. I thought up until the finish, everything was solid, and I thought the finish was really cool. It was executed pretty well. Post-match was a nice callback to Jericho's past. I enjoyed that aspect of it, and I find Guevara joining Callis after all to be interesting. Guevara's a guy I wouldn't mind in the Callis family fits well, I think. Takeshi is still the golden goose, though, and I will remind everyone of that every time just to make sure.
And I think, as a side note, you and I every time get nervous when Jericho does the lion salt. And this time,
he did it
he went
like
the long way?
Yeah, because Guevara's like not in the middle ring. He's closer to one side of the ropes.
The hard camera, I think.
Closer to the hard cam, and Jericho goes the other way.
And I was like, man, because we've watched him almost
botch it
badly. So I get nervous every time, but he still pulls it out somehow. A little bit, yeah.
MJF and Cole arrived to the arena. MJF basically just cut a promo saying he's going to choke Joe out in front of his people. And the last thing he'll hear is MJF. Cole answered his phone, and it was Roddy calling him. And then Cole said, "You're not going to die, dude." Because Roddy's being dramatic, drama queen. Obviously. And then MJF said to the camera, "Your ass is mine, Joe."
Yeah, a good intense promo from the champ.
Solid promo from MJF, customary as usual. And Roddy was funny. And it's not being there.
And it's furthering that story of Cole's kind of being stretched between Roddy and MJF and what's he going to do sort of thing. So it's good.
Next we get a quick Callis and Guevara interview. Callis cuts off Dasha and says, "I'll explain on Rampage." As they leave, Garcia gets in Guevara's face and Guevara asks if he's got something to say. But Callis backs him away, saying Garcia's money. So I like Callis keeping that opportunity open. This is just a little bit here. It's interesting to see Garcia in the mix here. But they better not have him help Jericho fight Callis and the boys just because he just left Jazz. So it doesn't make sense that he would want to help Jericho now. I mean, I know he still probably has some connection to Jericho, but he seemed very adamant about leaving. So I don't know. It just doesn't seem... I don't know. It's just weird if he would help him. And I'd still be down to have him join Callis and Takeshi as long as him and Guevara are the only members of Jazz that go with Callis, because I don't need any more.
Strangely enough, I'm more interested in the issues between Garcia and Guevara than I was Jericho. And I don't know why. There's something between those two that I find interesting, and just similar age, similar size, but really different styles too, right? And attitudes and things in theory. Because you'd have the flashy, flamboyant Sammy, and then the serious technical guy.
I could see Garcia interfering at Wrestle Dream and maybe turning on Jericho and then joining Callis.
That'd be cool.
I would like that.
Garcia has a potential to be really interesting, and they've come close to that a few times. So I
think they dropped the ball with not having him leave Jazz last year.
For Blackpool, man. That would
because remember he turned on Danielson in Toronto.
Would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I was there too. That's weird. I didn't remember seeing you there.
I don't remember anything from that other than just now. Next, we get Jon Moxley defending the International Championship, which has been leveled up this year many moons ago.
Right.
Against Rey Fenix.
True.
In a match based around safety and keeping each other safe and getting the finish properly.
Okay.
So Phoenix met Mox on the ramp and they brawled, running Tope from the ramp from Phoenix to the floor.
I think this is where things started.
I think it maybe was a start, but I don't think it...
Because he got his head pinned between Phoenix's body and the mat on
I do think it looked a little rough. However, I think he kind of recovered fine. I don't think that was the point of contention.
But
I do see what you're saying. I
don't think it is either, because you can see the point of contention twice, frankly, which is a little upsetting. But yeah.
There's a curb stomp from Mox. Phoenix did not get concussed.
Nope.
Draping butterfly DDT from Mox on the outside. Phoenix did not get concussed. Roll through cutter from Phoenix for 2. With Mox draped over the barricade, Phoenix did a diving leg drop from the top. That looked a little weird.
It looked pretty violent, yeah.
Yeah. Then Phoenix hits his driver. I forget what they call it. And I'm pretty sure that's what concussed Mox. He definitely hit his head on the mat pretty decently.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix's
fire driver.
Black
fire driver.
Thank you.
No problem. Call me Excalibur.
No. Just that's a disgrace. That's just disgraceful. Then so Phoenix covered him and Mox does not kick out, but the ref stops counting.
Does not kick out at all.
Oh, Moxley twitched. Commentary's trying to save it.
They were struggling.
And then so Mox is clearly out of it, and Phoenix is just like, okay, I'll do it again.
Let me do the same thing and drop you on your... And
he definitely, like, at least he tapped the mat.
Even the second one,
I don't care,
touched the
like,
mat.
he tapped the mat at least, which it's not good to do right after. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
I don't understand that choice.
So, yeah, Phoenix picks up the surprise win.
Definitely not the script. Well, I shouldn't say nothing's definite in wrestling. But...
No offense to Phoenix, and I was telling you this when we were watching, but I don't feel him as champion. And I know it's not planned, but just taking it as it is, as it's happened, it's done, right? Can't reverse it.
Yep.
We could have an interim title again. Oh, wait, no. Am I stupid?
No more interims.
The real international champion.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just not feeling Phoenix as a champion. Like, I love Phoenix in the ring, but I think Penta, I would be super interested in as a singles champion because Penta's super cool. You could do Penta Dark or just Penta in general. He's really cool. I feel like Phoenix is super exciting in the ring, but Penta is the well-rounded one of the two, right? Because he can do character work, and he's really cool in the ring.
Yep.
So I think out of the two, I'd really like that. And also Penta, one of the all three members of Death Triangle have held the title.
True.
I feel like Phoenix should be transitional, and that probably sucks for him, but I think he got an accidental title run out of this, so...
I guess it'll depend, right? When's Mox cleared to wrestle again?
Yeah,
and
if Mox is out for a little bit, I say, and I told you this, but I say you give it back to Cassidy. He deserves another run. I don't care. Even if it's like a couple months, I would love to see just a bit more Cassidy. I think he deserves to be the guy to pick up the pieces in this scenario, because Mox is always the guy to pick up the pieces. Every time Punk dropped the ball, he was there. Or, like, he was there when Punk got injured the first time. When after Brawl Out, Mox was there. Like, I think now that Mox is the one in peril, not by his own doing like Punk.
Yeah.
But that I think Cassidy would be great to pick up the pieces here.
Well, remember, my booking was they should have had Mox just roll up Phoenix and retain.
Like Austin and Owen Hart at SummerSlam 97.
Have to relinquish. You hold a tournament for the vacated title. Orange Cassidy wins. You can start telling the story of him getting beat up through the tournament. Moxley comes back pissed off and they have him basically beat everybody that was even in the tournament, like, because they never go more than 8 people or whatever, right? Have him take out a whole bunch of people on his way to Orange Cassidy again.
Yeah, I like that idea.
But
that would have been cool.
That's not what happened. They switched the title.
They called an audible. I figured this is probably the easier thing to call.
Yeah.
Moxley apparently at least walked out on his own feet.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
It would have been nice if you were going to make this decision to call the audible. First of all, the ref counts the pinfall, and then we don't have the second driver on a guy who's concussed.
Or, like, Phoenix, just do, like, a shooting star or some
roll
dive.
Him up, inside cradle. I don't know. Not anything dropping the man on his head when
with
he
the
just
exact
got
same move.
Right.
Yeah, this was pretty good, but
the match was good, but it was hard because
I couldn't get into it. I can't even say if it's good or not, really, just because it's hard to get into knowing what already happened.
Because I don't get spoiled generally, but I was spoiled on this, so I found myself just sitting there waiting for it to happen.
I don't think spoilers generally ruin matches most of the time. Like, I knew Eddie was winning, but I still think the opener was really great and like the near falls work. But this is one of those things where, because it's an injury, the spoiler ruins the match for me.
Or when you know one specific thing happens and you're just waiting for that.
I was waiting for the driver,
or a big spot or whatever. Yeah.
Some cool spots I thought, but I feel like this one never really got to get going. Thankfully, they got like a solid amount of time before the incident happened. They did. But I feel like this was a little slow in general. Like, it never really got up to pace, I feel like. Solid action, but I just didn't watch in the right frame of mind. Mox only took a few hits here. Hopefully he's okay soon. I'm really hoping it's not an Adam Cole incident where he's gone for like a year because of a concussion.
Right.
Especially for AEW, because Mox is like their rock. So hopefully he's okay, because he's a huge deal for them.
Yep. It's an unfortunate thing, and hopefully gets back quickly, and we'll see, because now we see how they plan on the fly, right? What they're going to do with this division now.
At least it didn't have him finish in a whole match like Matt Hardy did that one time.
Yeah, that was brutal. But yeah, they got like pretty much all the match in, and I'm pretty sure it was a good match. But again, I was distracted, and the ref not counting the 3 just looked crazy, and commentary had no way to explain that to.
Yeah, just kind of unfortunate. Then we got a quick Joe promo, he was just angry, saying he's going to take the title and whatever. Didn't get a lot from it, but I thought it was a solid promo. Nice energy here.
Yep.
Pretty typical stuff. But
intense Samoa Joe promo. Love him. I know he's not going to win, and not just because I saw spoilers, because I didn't, but he's just not. But it's still believable when he says stuff, right?
Next we got a hype package for a Rampage match. It's a 4-way tag with the winners getting an ROH tag title match at Wrestle Dream, and I'm a Melvin.
You are a Melvin.
I don't get why their thing is we're the OGK, but you can call us the Kingdom. Oh, that sounds stupid to me.
You know my note on this? Tag teams say things about a match on another show, I think. That was my professional, detailed.
Half the matches, the Kingdom and the Hardys. Are we watching this? No.
I'm here to put in the work, people. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Tag teams.
I didn't even write an opinion on this.
Me
so
either. That's all I wrote.
I mean, but I didn't write anything. No. So you win.
I win.
On Rampage, the only thing I kind of want to watch, maybe I probably won't, just because it's more of a slight interest. But Mogul Embassy and then the Hung Box, which sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Sounds appealing to me. Also, just because I saw Nana dances and I live for the Nana dance.
Who doesn't?
It's becoming a thing for
it
sure.
Is. It is.
You want to talk about Storm's shoe thing? Nana's getting over.
Well,
man.
And it's partly the dancing, and it's partly the contrast to Swerve looking like such a badass.
I saw like a meme
where
it's
cartoon
like,
beside him.
Yeah, it's like your friend all pissed, and then your one friend does something stupid to try to cheer you up.
Yeah,
it's literally that. Like,
and it's like because your friend's a badass, you can act as crazy as you want, and nobody can say anything about it.
He's such an integral part of Swerve's entrance now.
It's great.
Oh, it's perfect. It's like when Sami Zayn did his ridiculous dancing, but honestly, I like this better.
And that Swerve doesn't even acknowledge it or look at it. He's just in his zone, and they're both doing their
Nana's
thing.
in his zone too. Next, we get to something I don't like nearly as much as Prince Nana, which is Saraya versus Toni Storm for the Women's Championship.
Yep.
The first thing I wrote was, and I quote, "I don't care whatsoever."
And you brought it up in the moment. What's the heel-face dynamic here?
Like, so yeah,
Saraya's
the first thing I wrote was Saraya's pie-facing Storm, and she's like saying heelish things. But then Storm's making like a weird face, and like, so who's the babyface? Because I feel like after the London, they were trying to paint Saraya as a babyface. Because I think the Toni Storm gimmick is very much not a babyface gimmick.
I'm not sure.
Because it's a self-absorbed like movie star kind of gimmick. It's not a babyface.
But
gimmick.
Is it being played for comedy?
I don't think so. Because
Shouldn't we know?
It's not very
Shouldn't
funny.
we know by now?
Right? We don't know.
Right.
B, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right? And then Saraya's promo, what was it, last week? Remember, it was like the Baker feud. I think she was a face. Again,
she was definitely not full heel.
I don't know if she ever was. But then she cut a heel promo, so I'm like, she's a face, but she's cutting a heel promo. And then Storm's kind of heel. Like, her character, it definitely seems heel, right? And it's like...
And both of them cheat.
I think it's heel. Then, yeah.
But Storm cheats in retaliation.
Yeah, so Storm's character's like this weird heel thing, and she's self-obsessed and whatever. That's heel. Come on. It's like...
And she throws shoes, but that's getting over as comedy.
Which is... That doesn't make her face.
It's just mind-bending.
It's mind-bending. And then Saraya's still like outcasty with Ruby Soho, and
you're forcing me to think about Saraya, which makes me angry. And I shouldn't invest
Saraya's
time
cheating
in
and Storm cheating. It's a mess. Like Storm hits Saraya with the shoe for 2, babyface.
Yeah, maybe.
Storm exposes the turnbuckle, babyface.
Right. To set up the hip attack.
Gets us on someone who had a career-ending neck injury before. So
babyface.
Let's remember that. And she did that, tried to do it at All In too. She gets a spray paint can because she's a babyface.
Yeah.
And then Soho takes away because she's a babyface, and she distracts the ref because she's a babyface. And Saraya sprays Storm and hits the Rampage for 2 because she's a babyface.
Somebody is.
This is
Ruby Soho, maybe. I don't know.
And the ref is the babyface.
The crazy thing is, these are the only 3 women they've been telling any stories about for months, and we still don't know what's going on.
I have no idea what's going on.
They get like 90% of the energy.
This is at which point I got fed up and wrote in brackets, all caps, who is the face?
I don't know.
I don't understand. Storm kisses Saraya because babyface love, I guess.
No, assault, heel. No consent.
Exact. Consent. You need consent. She hits a Storm 0 after that for 2. Saraya avoids a hip attack, so her neck doesn't get destroyed against an exposed turnbuckle.
Neck of granite.
Because Storm's a babyface, and the babyface Saraya hits a Rampage for the win.
Okay, there was some decent action in this, but yes, we're kind of obviously lampooning this a little bit in the situation. There was some okay action.
I don't like them.
But again, I'm just not... You've been trying to WWE style ram this group specifically down my throat for some reason, and I'm still not
the whole
interested.
Year, basically.
And it's not that I think Toni Storm's totally fine in the ring, Saraya, whatever. So this is okay, but I don't know. There's a lot going on, and I just don't really care, I guess.
Yeah, this was boring. Mediocre match at best from an action standpoint. Some of it was solid, but most of it I didn't care. It didn't help that I had no interest in it whatsoever. I couldn't give a crap about what the Outcasts get up to. Now, I don't care if they have issues. I don't care if they're teaming. I don't care if Storm has changed. Don't care about them fighting or teaming. Don't care about Saraya. Don't care at all. And this match suffers as a result. The heel face lines were completely blurred as well, with neither of them acting like a babyface at all, and making this even harder to be invested in. There's zero heat whatsoever and zero intrigue. They've been trying to ram this down our throats for the whole year.
Yep.
And I just don't care. I'm honestly starting to leaning towards not liking the Storm character just because this whole storyline's a mess and it's affecting whatever possible potential that character has, especially because I think it's a heel thing, but then now facing kind of very heel Saraya as well.
Getting bullied by the other two now.
Because
yeah.
If, like, let's say Storm is doing this self-obsessed Hollywood star thing, and that's fine. If she does against Willow, who's like this over, like, that would work for me, and that might help get the gimmick over for me. But since they're putting in this weird heel thing with Saraya, who I also don't like, let's not forget, it makes me like Storm's character less. So I'm not going to make a concrete opinion quite yet, because I'll give them
leaning
a little
towards not.
I'll give them a bit more time just to give it a chance, but I'm definitely leaning towards not liking it because this is just not good. I'm hoping Saraya drops the title soon because this is a waste of my time.
It feels like they're like a micro company and they only have 3 women on the roster, and they're like, how can we? Okay, now what story are we gonna tell with these 3? And okay, now and like you have other people you can use. You don't have to. If you want to change Toni Storm's character, why does she still have to be in the orbit with these people? You're right. Have her go somewhere else. But anyways, talked a lot about them.
Yeah, we got a quick MJF Joe package, and then we go to our main event, which is MJF and Samoa Joseph for the AEW World Championship. And Max had like a little
baseball gear.
And he had that little video thing at the beginning that was the homage to the Bret Hart thing.
Oh yeah, that's right, where he gave away his scarf to a kid
and told me he was adopted.
It's a parody of a parody, because that original one was a parody of a Coca-Cola commercial with Mean Joe Green in the 70s, I think, before I was born, but I was aware of it.
Brett would have been 90s.
Because it was part of the zeitgeist, or as they say, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Hart was a parody of that in the 90s, and this was a parody of that.
Yeah, because I don't think Brett called anyone adopted.
No, and so sorry, there was that, right? Which comes up again, how like you see the little bits of heel MJF bubbling up, like it's just beneath the surface, right? You know it's there, and
I noticed that in the match as well.
Yes, I like that.
I'll talk about it. Yeah. So Joe caught MJF with that corner Uranagi, which I finally learned how to spell properly, which I feel like I should have known by now.
I never put the E on the end properly.
I used to do 2 E's, and it's like
I went with an I. That was my instinct.
You're an English teacher. That's stupid.
That's true.
That's just
it was my best guess.
I'm not a
Japanese teacher.
I don't know why I would mention this now, but I just thought of it. So Caretaker's kid that's theirs. The way he spells his name is so weird.
How do you spell it?
I think it's Zakkrey or something. Like it's
Zachary. Nice.
And with 2 K's. It reminded me of Braun Breaker.
It's very wrestling.
Braun Breaker. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm just like, what?
So that it sounds common, but you can trademark the spelling. That's the key. Right?
Exactly, yeah. MJF escaped the muscle buster, counting in a sunset flip for 2. And then he hit a super kick. MJF hit a few lariats to Joe that don't take him down. MJF runs the ropes, gets clobbered by Joe with a lariat for 2 count. Crowd count punches and a head bite from MJF. Then later on he hits a kangaroo kick. DVD on the apron from Joe. That looked pretty awesome.
Looked really good.
Joe propped a table against the barricade, then hit another Uranagi to MJF through the table.
Was the Death Valley driver where I loved the way MJF fell off? It looked like he was just dead weight falling off the apron. Yeah, it looked good.
And then he actually put him through the table after setting it up himself.
That was crazy. The heel set up a table, and then the heel immediately used the table. That's what a swerve, brother.
That's crazy. Joe hit a pile driver on the exposed concrete floor. I like how when MJ took you in like plank board stiff.
That's a little risky after just having Mock. You know what I mean? Like
it did look pretty safe though.
Yeah,
actually,
it was.
To their credit.
Yeah.
If only they had learned this an hour before.
Right.
We got a strike exchange for a bit. Joe tried to lock in the Kikina clutch, but MJ pulled the ref in and mule kick low blows Joe. There's a bit there.
Yep.
He tried to use the ring, but he got caught. Then Joe hit a low blow and a muscle buster for a near fall. Joe's MJF in a sleeper. Cole comes down, injures his leg, and hypes MJF back up. Then the finish comes in. So the ref kind of like he jocked out of the ring to avoid being sandwiched.
Yes.
Which was interesting. Then MJF used a cable to choke Joe. Then he hit it under a sleeper hold and made Joe pass out like he said he would for the win. And then they shook hands post-match.
Yeah, so he cheated, the cheater.
Mm-hmm.
So
he did choke him out, though.
When you first said he avoided a muscle buster, it made me think, did they abandon like a neck story? Weren't they starting to tell one of those with MJF?
Yeah, they kind of went with it here. There was like the pile driver on the outside. I
guess, yeah. I just don't remember commentary drawing much attention to it.
No, but MJF was selling them whatever. They had it there. They had it there.
Really good main event. I thought just a nice amount of time. Joe, this is repeating it, but he always looks vicious, right? And he throws all kinds of stuff at MJF. I just love his offense in general. And then, we talked about the heel stuff just beneath the surface, right? He contemplates using his ring. He does cheat.
He tried to use the ring.
He does cheat at the end. So now we know that heel MJF is there. There's just this veneer of fake.
It's always
there.
MJF.
Yeah. And I thought that like MJF's had some really good title defenses in this run, right? I thought this was another really good one. A good TV main event. The show was like bookended, I thought, by two really good matches. So I like this.
Yeah. I thought it was a really strong main event, an enjoyable one for sure. MJF's neck was a nice in-ring story throughout the match. Gave Joe target to make him look like a killer. Table spot and concrete spot were really cool. Apron spot as well, actually. Finish was well done, I thought. I like MJF cheating even as babyface. Maybe a tease of those tendencies coming back, or a reminder that he'll never completely change, and that it's still around. And maybe that'll become more and more prominent as he tries to hide it away.
Right.
You could definitely see Cole limping a little. Hope he is okay as well.
Yeah, he it looked like it was really sore when he first did it, but then he seemed to be moving around okay. But you said he was on crutches to leave, which could just be like a precaution, right? Before you're getting anything down or anything done. But so overall thoughts on this show? I thought two really good matches in the opener and the main event. I thought Mox Phoenix was a good match. Obviously the ending kind of hurts it a little bit. Roddy was entertaining in his segments. The women's match I didn't care for, but it wasn't awful. Jericho Sammy Guevara was pretty good. I feel like this was a very good show. I went B+, like just below an A-level show. I liked quite a bit of it, and nothing really was terrible. B+, strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good show for a special in the big stadium thingy.
Yep.
Book ended really well. The opener was really good, I thought. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Guevara and Jericho was pretty good.
It was.
Finish was best if anything. Moxley Phoenix was pretty good, but marred by injury. Women's match was mid, and the main event I thought was really strong, and I liked that a lot. Roddy's segment was entertaining. Callis and Guevara was solid. There wasn't a whole lot of segments. It was mostly the matches. So I think it's pretty good. I would also give it a B+. Pretty good show.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. All right, well, let's shift gears and move into some trivia where Jack will take on some ChatGPT trivia I generated, or we generated, I guess, me and ChatGPT together. And that's what we call off the top of his head. All right, so I'm taking you out of your comfort zone in honor of Impact's 1000th episode.
Oof.
I thought so. I'll read you the exact prompt I put into ChatGPT. Okay. And it took me it evolved slightly because I'm getting better at narrowing it down, right, and putting in the parameters I want. Can you provide a list of 10 Impact TNA wrestlers with the most X Division Championship reigns? Include the number of title reigns. Please provide, this is my favorite part, please provide a brief physical description of each person on the list, as well as a summary of their wrestling style. So to see what some of these answers will be. Now, I don't think it's fully up to date. I know you know Saban's number 1, so we can knock that off, right? They only have him as having 8. It's currently 10 now, right?
Yeah, it's 10.
So I think ChatGPT doesn't go beyond 2021 or something like that. Anyways, it'll still be fun. So at number 10, this person has 4 reigns. Okay, physical description. They keep using his previous name, so I won't use it there. Maintains a similar appearance to his previous name with a shaved head and muscular physique.
Daniels?
No. Wrestling style is characterized by strong strikes and submission holds.
Angle?
No. So it's X Division. And
he had it once.
Former WWE wrestler as well. Super famous indie guy, never really caught on in any cool style. His finish was like a top rope senton. No, anyways. He was formerly known as Loki.
Oh.
Who is it?
Loki.
No.
What?
What do you know what his name was for these title runs?
Oh, is it like Senshi?
Senshi, you got it.
Well, I know he came back as Loki in Impact.
What was he in WWE?
Caval.
Oh yeah, I could not remember that.
I was thinking Loki, but I was like, I don't think he's that muscular.
Was awesome. Like Loki, and have you ever heard his voice? He has like the deepest voice you'll ever hear. It was crazy. Okay, number 9. 4 title reigns. Average build. Often sports short hair. Famous for innovating, I won't use the name, but an innovative finishing maneuver.
Styles?
No. A flipping pile driver. Combines technical wrestling with aerial moves. Correct. P.D. Williams, 4-time champion. This number 8, also 4 times. Average build, often wears colorful ring gear. Blends technical wrestling with high-flying maneuvers.
Lethal?
Known for moves like the Hindu press.
Oh, Dutt.
Sanjay Dutt, correct. He was good in the ring, too. This one, if you get it, you're at nerd levels beyond, because I don't think you will. 5 times, according to ChatGPT. I assume they could get that simple fact right, but who knows?
Skipper?
No. Sports a unique hairstyle and colorful ring attire. High energy, high flying style, incorporating aerial moves and quick strikes. Here's a hint that I've told you.
Amazing Red?
No, that's a very good guess, though. He almost killed Jesse Sorensen. Do you remember who I told you that was? He did a flip. I remember watching it. He did a flip off the apron and his knees compressed the guy's spine straight down. In NXT, as part of a faction when you were watching a lot. Currently on main roster. We like the head of his faction. LWO at this point, I think they're called.
Oh, DJZ.
Yeah, DJZ, a.k.a. Zima Ion. 5 times, according to this.
You did tell me that.
I did not remember that. So then, this person's already come up on the list, but now it's under a different name. He had it 4 times.
Loki.
Correct. The next person, number 5, has held it 5 times. This person's appearance can vary depending on the wrestler portraying the character. Often
Suicide?
Correct. Often featuring a full body suit.
Oh, can I say Suicide here? Oh.
So that was Daniels at some point.
Daniels at one point. Kaz at one point.
Daniels was Curryman
at one
too.
Point.
Curryman was sweet. Okay, the number 4. This person had the title 6 times. Average height with a lean, muscular physique. Often sports a beard. Versatile wrestler. Excellent in technical and high-flying maneuvers with a focus on innovation. I really like him. I think he has some attitude problems. Isn't at a lot. Correct. Attitude problems is what got you there? Yeah. I figured it might. X Division champion 6 times. This is number 3 on the list. Average height, clean cut hair, and a clean shaven face. Technically proficient wrestler who can adapt to various styles. Known for his precise execution of moves. This is like when students hand in stuff and they're trying to BS you because they don't know any specific details, right? That's what ChatGPT feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So this person is in AEW now. We like him. We don't like anyone else in his group.
Lethal.
Correct. I knew I could get you there. 5-time champion. Now we're getting into you got
Styles.
Saban was 1. You got him. No. They don't even have Styles on the list, which I can't imagine is correct.
I gotta see how many.
Yeah, go ahead. Has. So this is number 2. It had it 5 times. A burly, imposing figure.
Joe?
Yeah. How is this next hint? With tribal tattoos on his upper body. No. Combines hard-hitting strikes, powerful suplexes, and submission. That's fair. In his unique brawler style. That's fair. So you're telling me AJ Styles didn't have at least 4 reigns? That's what ChatGPT wants me to believe. Maybe. Was he elevated to the main title fast? Is that why?
So I'm gonna read. So I found a site. It's wrestling fandom.
Fact checking.
I'll read this verbatim. So, he was widely known for his tenure in Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling from 2002 to 2013, where he's dubbed Mr. TNA. He held the NWA World Heavyweight Championship 3 times, and then TNA World Heavyweight Championship twice. He's also the first X Division champion, a title he held 6 times.
So 6.
Yeah.
They didn't put him in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we were talking about PWI 500 not having Naito on the list at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. He wasn't injured for a while or something, right?
Not our best trivia, but I thought it would be fun to see. I was hoping that the physical description and wrestling style would be better, but it's so generic. They're just kind of like...
Yeah, so maybe something like so bad it's funny.
But I always know I can add hints to get you there. But anyways, let's move back into talking about whatever we watched on this week of wrestling that we liked or didn't like, what we call Highspots and Restholds. All right, fella, you're in charge of Monday Night Raw. You got anything for us from there?
The only thing I had was the Nia Rampage this week, which I think I told you about. I almost thought I mentioned last week.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah, she took out Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Stark, and Baszler. I don't know why so many had to be sacrificed to make her look good. Not only do we know her already, but we already know she's horrible and dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Stark took a senton, so we should probably check on her. Baszler, of course, was the victim of the modern Marvel wrestling we know as the Bonsai.
Of course she was.
Modern miracle, that is.
Had a chance
that SummerSlam win was a sham.
Had the chance to push Baszler. Not surprisingly, decided not to.
I think they just pushed her into the ground because Nia had probably crushed her.
Yeah. NXT this week, we had, of course, the return of Becky Lynch. She was in the opening segment. I thought it was really good. Other than the first few lines of it, Becky was like rhyming other NXT women's names. I didn't like the poetry part, but then it got pretty interesting. She complimented Stratton, said she will give her a rematch. And then Stratton comes out, and this is one of my pet peeves. Why can't Stratton and so many other women call it the Women's Championship, like singular?
Yeah, that's kind of...
irks me. She says it like 4 times. Anyways.
Maybe it's the accent? I don't know.
Stratton wants the rematch at No Mercy. Lynch grants it while saying that Stratton isn't hungry enough. She's entitled. So the result of the rematch will be the same as the original. Stratton says I kind of like this attitude from Stratton, that the only reason Lynch is even there is because her name came out of Stratton's mouth. And otherwise,
true. Lynch
would be touring old folks' homes looking for the next legend to beat up, which I thought was pretty good. Lynch is done talking at that point, attacks. Kiana James shows up to hold Lynch. Stratton gets a chair. Lynch fights off both of them and stands tall to end the segment. I thought a really good segment. Lynch sounds awesome on the mic. Stratton wasn't quite as good, but she did a better job here than she sometimes does live. I really like the lines about, like, you're only here because I think that's spoke your name, actually, right?
Because technically it's true.
It is true, so I kind of like that. I think she's better with someone to play off of like Lynch, especially when that person is as good as Becky Lynch is, right? Rather than having to speak alone in the ring to the crowd. So I thought a good start to the show. A random high spot, Noam Dar and Metaphor this week are dressed as the Matrix.
Yeah, that was
for
weird.
No reason, which I just thought was funny. Maybe it's because it's approaching Halloween or something, but they're just like in costumes every week right now.
You could also interpret it as like they're watching the simulation
right.
or something, which is the tournament.
Or red pill, blue pill, some kind of stuff he made.
Yeah.
I did like a quick backstage segment with Dom trying to... It almost seems like there's groups now trying to recruit Trick. So Dom is talking to him and basically is like, I know what it's like to be...
Judgment Day's been... They're also going after Jay.
Right. So they're here like, he's like, I know what it's like to be in someone's shadow. And that joining Judgment Day is what helped him step out of the shadow.
Dom's case to Jay was, nobody here likes you, nobody likes me either.
Right. So I like Dom as this Weasley manipulative heel, right? He's a very believable scumbag, and it's like it feels like he watches the show, he sees an opportunity to split up Trick and Mello and to get Trick, so he's trying to add a blue chip prospect to Judgment Day. I like it. And then later in the show, I'll just lump it in here. Gacy and Ava also kind of make a pitch to Trick since their numbers are depleted, right? So it's like they're kind of aware that Mello is distancing himself further from Trick than Trick wanted to, and they're trying to scoop him up. So I like that. I like that idea, and it keeps some attention on Trick because clearly they're trying to elevate him. High spot, really good match. No surprise. Butch, Tyler Bate, excellent match. Tons of action. You had like a stalling superplex, I guess technically the second rope by Tyler Bate that was pretty impressive. And one thing annoyed me.
His name's Butch.
The match is, well, that too. The match is building. We go to a commercial break. We come back and the crowd is like on fire now, but we don't get picture in picture. So I have no idea what was going on. But like, it's like you fast forward through the commercials and it's a different dynamic happening. It was a bit jarring.
Maybe anyways, would the network have uncut? I don't know. Or like,
yeah, that would make sense.
Right.
Yeah. Dunn counters the Tyler driver into a triangle choke. Bate powers out of that into an airplane spin directly into a brain buster and what I thought was a really cool sequence. Butch reverses a Tyler driver for a near fall. We get a bitter end that's countered into a DDT.
That always looks good because Pete Dunne sells the crap out of that every time.
And then Bate actually hits the bitter end to Butch for 2. Butch gets his knees up on that twisting splash from Bate. Does that have a name?
Spiral tap.
Right.
AJ used to do it.
We get a bitter end for a 2 count, and then a better end, which is a bitter end but into a driver instead of a flatliner, which was a hot debate in our house. I thought it looked cool. You did not.
I think it looks cool, but the bitter end's
I'm not
better.
saying the bitter end doesn't look better, but it's like he needed something extra, so he did. I know you were saying do another bitter end.
I would just bitter end him to death.
So he got the win I think it was like less than a minute before the time limit.
Yeah, they mentioned something
minutes,
like
right?
that. Yeah.
I think. So, like, there's no chance these two have a bad match. I thought this was
Pete Dunne for the win, baby.
Not up to their par of their like previous pay-per-view matches and tournament championships and stuff, but still a fantastic TV match. I actually recommend people check this one out, which I always love to say about a match.
I'm saying Pete Dunne beats Coffee, and you have him
and stays and just regresses quote unquote to Butch. That would be amazing. He's so good.
And like, because Coffee's a heel, so why would he beat Dunne? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, just give Dunne something to do and have him, revert back to Pete Dunne.
I was surprised Coffee when I don't feel like
I would have put Dunne against like Fraser.
But I guess because Dunne's heel, right? So
Dunne?
Butch. Sorry, he's face right now.
Yeah, Brawling Brutes are baby faces.
Oh, I didn't even know.
That's why, like, I'm saying he probably has to win against Coffee because babyface.
And we got exactly what we thought we would get, but I think we only got one, and that's Thea Hale going shopping with JC Jane. Remember, I was expecting like a 3 segment, but I think we only got one, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if it was bad or not, because I did think it was funny. I don't know if it was on purpose. They're in a store where basically like 95% of the stuff is black. And is that because like JC Jane's a heel, so she only shop? Like, if they're making that joke, that's funny. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit.
They're doing it on purpose, yeah.
Right?
But if they're that self-aware.
So you can confirm I am like a middle-aged man, correct?
Probably
beyond if you look at average age in Canada. But anyways, so I wasn't super comfortable because this was basically a 19-year-old woman coming out of a change room in progressively skimpier leather outfits. So I wasn't like super comfortable with this. This is
probably written by men not too much older than you.
Right, who were like, oh, this is a great idea. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, she's trying to completely change up her look and she's going from wholesome, even though wholesome is still wearing like really revealing tops with no like midriff exposed and everything.
No colors.
But anyway, so yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But
if you want to be grown up, colors fall by the wayside.
It was exactly what you would expect from this. So you got what you got. Resthold, just because I was disappointed with the length they gave them, was Duke Hudson and Joe Coffey. Like, I don't have an issue with either guy in ring. I kind of like Coffey, and I think Hudson's like a throwback to like I don't know, like an 80s kind of power guy who can do a bit of stuff as well. Only got 4 minutes, and it kind of paled in comparison to the tournament match just before this with Butch and Bate, right? So didn't get enough time to really get in gear, and there's definitely a better match between these two. Coffey dominates late. Hudson ducks. What's his finishing clothesline called? Coffey's? I forget, but anyway.
I think
it's something lengthy. If I'm just like, it's too long a name for a clothesline. I can't get behind it.
It's a discus lariat.
Right, which is fine, but anyways. So Hudson rolls up Coffey for the win, which was surprising. There's now 3 people tied at the top of Group B.
Which is everyone except for Tozawa.
Correct. So then in an interview right after, I think it was, Nathan Fraser suggests a triple threat tiebreaker next week. Interviewer does the thing where they like touch their ear because they're getting information, right? Oh, and gets word that the match will happen tonight. So Fraser like sprints off because I guess his gimmick is that he's fast, right? So
he is.
Resthold, I thought Lola Vice got a little bit exposed in a single match with Perez. There was some nice aggression from Vice and charisma, so I think there's a potential, but there's a couple moments that weren't great, nothing major.
It's developmental.
But yeah, exactly, and I think she, maybe singles matches she's not quite ready for, but I do like, because she's coming across as like a submission specialist, which I think is kind of a cool character for that division, because there isn't really one.
Baszler.
Since Baszler left, right? And I just...
No, Rousey left. Baszler's here. They're just ruining her.
Well, not in NXT, I meant.
Oh, yeah.
So... I've said it before, but Perez sells really well for someone so young, and for such a natural babyface to have that skill, that's pretty huge. So Perez wins. She counters an armbar into a pinfall, 4 minutes. So Lola Vice, I think massive potential, but there's a couple hiccups in this one, I would say. Resthold, I don't think I even mentioned it last week, but the segment was Dijak out whipping a tree really hard, and Thorpe this week is mad about that. I guess because of his connection to nature, which is fair, but it just seemed kind of strange.
Kind of weird.
It sets up a strap match, which is not my favorite, and I just don't find Thorpe believable in these scripted recorded things. The most believable thing he did was when they had that angry promo after immediately he lost because Dijak cheated, and it was like in the moment he was just mad. That sounded good. When he has time and they record it, I don't know, it's not working for me. Just in general, Highspot, we got to get Becky Lynch all over this show in little conversations with people. I don't get to see her much anymore because I don't watch main roster, but she's awesome now, eh? She's like really, really polished without being too polished, you know what I mean? Like she's just a professional and she can do it all. It's really good to see. She's cool. I did like Dom and Mello Hayes, to be honest. The match itself was decent, but it's Dragunov's intensity because he was at ringside, and it's like Dom was doing it on purpose. He kind of threw Carmelo into Dragunov twice at ringside, and then when Dragunov stood up and got in his face, he slapped him, and then that's like Dragunov snaps, and he's so good at being angry, right? Like his veins are popping, his face is going red.
His facial expressions are really
it's incredible, and so he ends up hitting his falling forearm to Dom. And then he goes for the Torpedo Moscow, but Hayes gets in the way, so he takes out Hayes with that. And yeah, nobody sells intensity like Dragunov. And every story he's in, he adds to it, right? So I think he's fantastic. He's among my favorite wrestlers right now, anywhere. You were here for the triple threat, I think, right? Coffee, Fraser, Hudson.
I did see it.
You were in the room. You were intermittently paying attention.
How much do I remember? Couldn't tell you.
I thought it was fun. You had Fraser flying all over the place. He hit a nice spike Rana and then a sudden Phoenix splash to Hudson. Like, he doesn't take time to prep, right? Like, he got up there and he hits it instead of like getting his balance and standing up straight and maybe gesturing to the crowd, which I like that better. Like, you don't have a lot of time. Like, get up there and hit it, and he does, which I think is cool. Coffee threw Fraser out of the ring, hit his finishing clothesline that we forget the name of to Hudson, picked up the win.
Something with a B.
After 12 minutes.
Something. There you go.
That's
You're
great.
welcome.
I thought the second really good TV match on this show, we had a power guy, a brawler, and a speedy high flyer, and I thought it worked pretty well. And they got 12 minutes, which on this show is a lot. So I thought it was good. Then I have a question, right? Because that segment was here. How does the Ali, Dom, Dragon Lee story move forward now that Ali is gone? They just like, I don't know what
kill
you do.
Kill it?
Right?
Like, I don't.
Probably.
Just kind of just be like, what? Nothing happened.
Corbin was being a condescending prick to the rednecks, and I kind of thought it was funny. Briggs, Jensen, and Henley are arguing because member Miles Bourne turned on them last week. And
After a week.
And Briggs is blaming Henley for that. Corbin comes out basically saying that their arguing is ruining his massage. Asked them like I can't remember what it was, but like a rhetorical question is like, don't answer because I don't care. So I kind of liked it. Briggs, then I was kind of funny too. He's like, oh, I'm glad you can actually hear because I thought maybe Braun might have popped your eardrum last week when he crushed you, right? So we're going to get a Corbin-Briggs match, I assume. And I like Corbin being dismissive and condescending here. And the Rednecks, it almost feels like they're repackaging the Jensen-Kiana James angle now with Henley and Bourne. Because it's like, well, you're letting him in and he's screwing things up for us and blah, 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 right? So I don't know if it's a romantic angle.
Do that again.
The main event was pretty good. You had Stratton and James are attacking Becky Lynch as she's making her entrance. Valkyria comes out to make the save, so that's the tag match we get. And the baby faces, I don't have a lot of notes on it. They win Manhandle Slam and Lyra's Splash after 12 minutes. Solid action. I like that Lyra, I think she's getting a bit of a rub from working with Lynch, right? And I think that if it's me, Lyra is who I would position as my top baby face in the women's division for a little while. Maybe I'm fine if Stratton gets the title back and Lyra challenges her. But again, I don't know where you go with Lynch, how you get the title off of her, but we'll see. But I thought the match was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Impact. Ultimate X match to open was pretty fun. It was Bailey, Samurai Del Sol, Rich Swann, Alan Angels, Ace Austin, and Zach Wentz. Action all over the place, as you expect. Dives, stereo moonsaults off of the scaffolding, all kinds of things. You had Ace Austin missile drop kick Del Sol off of the cable. He kind of only kicked his legs, but it still was cool. And then just in a weird spot, Mike Bailey is like clinging to the rope with his arms and legs, or the cable, for a really long time. I didn't quite get it. Anyways, Angels ends up getting the X as Bailey and Austin are kind of in hot pursuit of him. Angels does get it, falls to the mat, drops it briefly, right? Because you have to get to the floor with it. But he quickly grabs it, and he does end up winning
Angels wins?
10 minutes, yeah.
That's weird.
I thought so, too. I'm kind of okay with it. I thought the match was really fun, and we get a fresh contender for the title. It wasn't an elite Ultimate X match, because some of them, I find they're hit and miss, right? They do them a lot.
Yeah.
So Angel's character change isn't good. I don't think it ever will be.
What
I just
is
don't.
it?
Whatever. He's like the. I think he's the front man, is it? So he's like pretending he's a rock star, but he's not really.
Heath.
He's just kind of bland, and I think he always will be, but he's good in the ring. And if he faces Sabin, that should be pretty good. I can't see Angels actually winning, but at least it's somebody different. A little bit annoyed. Dirty Dango's character that I once enjoyed seems to be descending sort of into like mid-card fodder because he lost in 4 minutes to Jake something because Bravo tried to use a flashlight and accidentally hit Dango. So it's like, you're now like the bumbling comedy mid-carder. I do like that you're putting some attention on Jake something because I think you should, but I don't know. I thought Dango's thing was cool and kind of edgy, and now it's like you put him with the cartoon character in Bravo, and he's just a joke.
Yeah, so. I like some of the things, but
yeah, it's not very good. And then this mock match, just I don't even remember this, man. I watched basically all of Impact and TNA. They did the Fox box where they have somebody in picture watching the match to be judging it in case it went to a draw, and it was Chase Stevens. And they also had I remember the
letter. I
don't know
who that is.
I remember he was in the Naturals. I'm pretty sure. You might want to fact check me. They were an awesome tag team early on TNA. They were like kind of like a Young Bucks kind of team. Similar idea. And they did like where they used to have the letterboxing with words going at the top and bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was a throwback.
Weird.
I actually liked Macklin was just in kind of a close-up promo complaining about Rhino costing him because Rhino came and gored him and he lost his case in the Feast or Fired. And as Macklin's talking, Rhino just out of nowhere from off screen gores Macklin through a bunch of like the road cases that are always there, you know? And it looked really good, I thought. This is more notable because I don't think it was great, but we had 2 instant DQs leading to a big tag team match. So it was supposed to be Eric Young and Kenny King. That match lasts 30 seconds because Sheldon Jean interferes. So then we make it a tag match because D'Amore comes out to join Eric Young. And just because we can't let this story die, Diener and Khan come down and attack Eric Young. So that's a DQ in 9 seconds.
The only thing that can die in this story is Eric Young.
Well, he can't die.
Okay, I get nothing can die then.
And then, so for nostalgia for the 1000th episode, America's Most Wanted, which is James Storm and Chris Harris, they come down to even the sides, and now we get an 8-man tag, right? So it ends with Storm giving Diener a last call. Gives Gene a code breaker. D'Amore hit actually a really nice sky high to Sheldon Jean, and then Eric Young hit Gene with the pile driver, so the baby faces win after 7 minutes. Just some nostalgia for me to see America's Most Wanted because they were a huge part of TNA back in the day. I was telling you, as a person who watched almost all Impact and TNA, the main event scene was pretty much always my least favorite part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were telling me.
I tend to be that way anyways. I'm always mid-card tag team stuff, but like, the Knockouts division was awesome. The X division was awesome a lot. And the tag team division was also really good. And then it just became the main event stuff was all the WWE rejects after a certain point.
And early TNA was like Jeff Jarrett half of the time.
In which I just didn't care. So the main event was rarely my favorite programs. Feast or Fired cases were opened. And it was somewhat predictable, a little disappointing. Crazy Steve gets the Digital Media Championship shot, which I feel stupid even typing that title name out. They need to do something about that. The Digital Media
Why do they have to have that as their second title? I think having 2 mid-card titles makes sense. I think that's a good idea, but I don't think it should
Digital
be
Media. I don't know what you call it.
They always fumble with their second mid-card title because they've always had the X division, which has worked out phenomenally. But then they've had like a King of the Mountain title, which like it was a Legends Championship, then it was a King of the Mountain title, then it was a TV title,
and then
that's just that belt. There's the Digital Media.
The old championship came back because then ECW have or EC3 have it, and I hated it.
Yeah, Moose had the TNA title for a bit. Like, they need to figure out a more sensible mid-card title that can go with the X Division title, because I feel like Crazy Steve should have either gotten an X Division shot or he should have been fired, because I think that would have been more interesting.
Because I don't even know what Digital Media Championship means. Like, it's not defended on... It'd be different if it's the Internet Championship and it's only defended on Internet shows.
It's only, like, sometimes defended on matches on their streaming service or whatever. I think Steve should have been fired, and then he goes on a rampage, and then they hire him back just to calm him down. And, like, something like that. So
Steve gets Digital Media, Moose gets World Championship, ABC get the tag title shot,
Moose
and
gets World title again. Great.
Yuya, as I sort of figured would happen, I said it last week here, I think, gets fired. Everyone just kind of fell into the slot you'd expect. I wish they had kind of taken the opportunity to shake things up a bit, but
That's
I guess
what I'm saying.
I don't have any major complaints. Just kind of nothing exciting, all predictable. Like everybody stays in their lane, basically, coming out of this, right? You were there for it. I really liked Trey Miguel, Josh Alexander. I thought that was a good match. It got 14 minutes of TV time. I know you remember the finish because the C4 looked incredible. Looked like he broke the guy's neck. Like, I don't know how he does it. It looked amazing. Wentz gets in a cheap shot at near the end of this. Shelley comes down to deal with it. Alexander then just hits an incredible looking C4 spike for the win after 14 minutes. And really good TV match. And it's to rebuild Alexander, obviously, as he's going to be back into the main event. I don't think the loss hurts Miguel because for me, this is like a peak tag wrestler facing a main eventer who's a singles guy.
Yeah, he's like the main event guy right now.
There's no shame in losing to the headliner, basically, right? And then this is where they announce, and you had told me already, you texted me and was like, they got me. What was the match they announced that got you?
Ospreay and Speedball. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that should be fantastic. So at Bound for Glory, so we'll at least check that out. I don't know if there's anything else appealing on Bound for Glory, but that is a match I will make sure I find.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little back and forth between Bailey and Gresham backstage, and it's going to lead to a future match. And even though they faced each other a lot lately, I am totally fine with this. And there's this little bit of like came through in this. They're still rivals. You can tell like they're being civil with each other, but also taking kind of subtle shots at each other. And I like that dynamic because they both think they're the best kind of thing, but they're kind of civil with each other. So I like their dynamic. Main event, you were there for that as well, I think. So
what was it?
It is the...
I wasn't really watching.
Angelina Love, Savannah Evans, Deanna Purrazzo, Tasha Steele, Giselle Shaw, and Velvet.
Velvet was ringside.
She wasn't in the match, right?
No.
Against Kong, Jordan Grace, Gail Kim, Trinity, Mickey James. This was okay, right? It was a nostalgia trip for me, and I'm not a super nostalgic person, but I was a big fan of the Knockouts division throughout much of Impact, so I loved seeing Awesome Kong specifically. She and Gail Kim, their era was amazing of Knockouts. If you want to go back and check that out, you probably should. So this was like a decent mixture, right, of kind of legends, if you will, and current roster stars. It went about 14 minutes. The big finish was Gail Kim dove over the top to a whole bunch of people on the floor. That allowed Awesome Kong to hit the implant buster to Giselle Shaw, and the baby faces pick up a win for a nice moment. Not a technical masterpiece, but like a decent little way to end the show. And again, I like that this company's built on Knockouts and X Division, and that's how they started and ended the show. So a decent episode. Not as strong as last week's. I thought last week's Impact was really good.
Real 1,000. That
was the real 1,000. This was 1,001, so it took a little bit of a step back. But yeah, that's everything I have from this week. You didn't have anything from SmackDown? Nothing eventful?
No.
And you said
honestly looks boring.
And you said you did not have any figuring it out this week? They're slacking and releasing new stuff?
They slack things. They don't always reveal things, I guess.
No, I guess not. So I think that's going to bring us to the end of one of our shorter episodes, an hour 32.
Y'all are spared.
Right? You're spared having to listen to us. Although a couple people... Remember way back when we started, a former student of mine was like, the longer the better because I drive trucks. So he was like, go 3 hours. I don't know if he still listens or not. So if you still listen, Devin, let me know because I haven't heard.
Yeah.
I forget. But anyways, that's going to wrap up episode 166. We'll definitely be back for 167. We got to find time to watch NXT and get back to the good gold days.
I forgot about that.
But again, that's bonus content. So when we find time, we'll find time. We hope to see you back here next week. And until then, everybody, take care.